MAGA isn't just about politics. It's about power, who has it, who's losing it, and who's trying to get it back. At first glance, it looks like a slogan. A call to return to a stronger, prouder America. But underneath that, there's something deeper. A struggle over identity, morality, and meaning. This is where philosophy enters the picture. Friedrich Nietzsche, the German thinker who challenged everything, saw it coming. He believed power isn't just who rules. It's who defines what's good, what's right, what's real. And in today's divided world, Nietzsche's ideas feel less like abstract theory and more like a warning. To understand MAGA, we don't just need political analysis. We need philosophy. Because the heart of this movement isn't policy, it's belief. Belief about who we are, who we were, and who we're supposed to be. So let's go beyond headlines. Let's follow the philosophy of power. Before we dive in, let me tell you what we're covering in this video. We'll explore how Nietzsche's philosophy helps us understand the rise of MAGA. From power and morality, to resentment, truth, strongmen, and the danger of cycles that never end. We'll break it all down, clear, concise, and with zero fluff. So let's begin. For Nietzsche, power was never just about force or control. It was about creation. The ability to shape meaning, define values, and rewrite reality itself. He called it the will to power. Not the thirst for domination, but the drive to create, to shape the world in your image. Now think of MAGA. It doesn't just want to win elections. It wants to reshape what America means. What it should stand for. Who belongs? Who doesn't? This isn't just politics. It's myth-making. A battle over values disguised as a campaign. Nietzsche believed that whoever controls values, controls the future. And in that sense, MAGA isn't just reacting to change. It's trying to rewrite what counts as truth. That's real power. But Nietzsche also warned, it comes with a price. Nietzsche believed the world runs on two moral codes. Master morality is the ethic of the strong. It values courage, pride, and action. It creates values instead of obeying them. Slave morality? It's born from weakness. It glorifies humility, obedience, and suffering. Not to build, but to blame. Now, look at MAGA. On stage, strength, defiance, dominance. In its rhetoric, grievance, nostalgia, and resentment. A longing for something stolen. A belief someone else is always to blame. It looks like master morality. But it speaks like slave morality. Nietzsche warned. Movements that can't stop looking backward aren't strong. They're stuck. Nietzsche's most powerful idea is the will to power. It's not about domination. It's about shaping the world according to your vision. Creating values. Living boldly. Becoming more than what you were. True power isn't reactive. It doesn't cry out for the past. It builds. MAGA says it wants to take America back. But to where? To a time that felt stable? To a world that no longer exists? That's not will to power. That's nostalgia dressed as strength. Nietzsche didn't admire movements that worship the past. He admired those who break with it. Not the ones who follow. The ones who lead. If MAGA wants to claim power, it has to create. Not just remember. Nietzsche called it ressentiment. Not just anger, but a deep, simmering blame. It doesn't build. It blames. MAGA began as a reaction. Against elites. Against globalization. Against cultural change. But resentment feeds on enemies. And when one is gone, another must take its place. The media. The deep state. The immigrants. The educators. The next. This isn't strength. It's a loop. A movement stuck defending an identity shaped by fear, not vision. Nietzsche warned. Resentment doesn't end with victory. It ends when the movement destroys itself. or finds the courage to rise above the past. Nietzsche imagined a different kind of human. Not reactive, not bitter, but bold enough to create new values. He called this ideal the Übermensch. The Übermensch doesn't long for the past. He doesn't cling to myths. He moves forward, building, shaping, becoming. MAGA talks about strength. But strength isn't yelling louder. It's creating a future no one has seen before. But MAGA looks back to a golden age that may have never existed. Its energy isn't visionary. It's nostalgic. That's not the Übermensch. That's the opposite. True power isn't in repeating the past. It's in transcending it. Until MAGA learns to create, not just react, it remains bound to the very weakness Nietzsche despised. Nietzsche didn't just question morality. He questioned truth itself. There are no facts, only interpretations. Not because facts don't exist, but because power decides which facts matter. Now look around. MAGA doesn't argue within the old rules. It rewrites them. It doesn't just reject the media. It builds a new version of truth. A new reality where only one voice counts. This isn't accidental. It's strategy. When truth becomes fluid, power fills the gap, and the loudest voice sets the story. But Nietzsche warned, when everyone lives in their own truth, society doesn't expand. It shatters. And once truth dies, there's only one way to win: dominate. When shared truth collapses, people stop looking for dialogue. They start looking for dominance. Nietzsche saw this coming. In chaos, we don't seek wisdom. We seek certainty. We want someone who doesn't ask for trust, but demands it. Someone who doesn't reflect the people, but commands them. That's where the strongman enters. MAGA doesn't just support a candidate. It orbits a figure, not a negotiator, but a force of will. Every contradiction becomes gospel. Every shift in narrative, accepted as long as it comes from the right voice. This isn't new. It's the oldest form of power. One truth, one leader, one direction. But Nietzsche's fear wasn't the rise of the strongman. It was what happens next. Because when everything depends on one figure, what's left when they're gone? Does the movement stand? Or does it fall with the voice that built it? Nietzsche warned us. When a movement loses its purpose, it stares into the abyss. Not a place of chaos, but of nothingness. A point where meaning collapses. And all that's left is the fight itself. MAGA is fueled by a sense of loss. A belief that something pure was stolen. But if everything is taken back, if all the enemies disappear, what then? When the victory comes, and nothing really changes, the rage has nowhere to go but inward. That's how movements implode. They splinter. They turn on each other. They search for traitors within. Nietzsche saw it in religion, in empires, and in people. When a cause becomes a habit, and the habit is fueled by resentment, that resentment must find a new home, even if it's inside its own walls. MAGA stands at that edge. Reclaiming the past can't last forever. Eventually, you have to build something, or the abyss answers back. Nietzsche offered one of philosophy's hardest questions. What if you had to live your life over and over, exactly the same, for eternity? No edits. No redose. Just repetition, forever. He called it eternal recurrence. Not as a threat, but as a test. If you truly love your choices, you'd be willing to live them again. If not, something has to change. Now apply that to MAGA. Same slogans. Same rallies. Same anger. Same enemies. Would they choose it again? Endlessly? If the movement can't evolve, if it can't offer more than nostalgia and blame, It's not leading, it's looping. Nietzsche believed strength was about creation, not repetition. True power is forward-facing, not trapped in reruns of a golden past that never really existed. So the test is simple. Would MAGA relive its story forever? Or is it time to write a new one? This philosophy isn't just about one movement. Nietzsche wasn't pointing fingers at parties or politicians. He was warning all of us. Resentment isn't just political. It's personal. It shows up in our relationships, our choices, our worldview. It quietly eats away at action, until we're living in reaction, not creation. He challenged us to stop living second-hand lives, to stop copying the values handed down to us, and start forging our own. Not just following tradition, not just rebelling either, but stepping up and shaping the world from within. If we wait for someone else to define meaning, we'll always live in someone else's story. Nietzsche believed in becoming stronger, more honest, more alive. So the lesson isn't just political, it's existential. The real question isn't what is MAGA doing? It's what am I doing? Are we building something of value? Or blaming the world for what we lack? That's Nietzsche's challenge to all of us. In Nietzsche's world, the future isn't given. It's created. Not by the loudest voice, not by the strongest fist, but by the one who dares to define new values. When old ones collapse, MAGA says, "Make America great again." But Nietzsche would ask, great, by whose standards? What are we building? And who gets to decide what comes next? He wasn't offering easy answers. He was offering a challenge to move beyond resentment, to stop living in reaction, to stop chasing a vanished past. The ones who shape the future, they don't cling to old myths. They write new ones. So whether you're inside the MAGA movement or far outside it, the deeper truth remains. This world, this moment, it's yours to shape. Not through blame, but through courage, through creativity, through becoming. Because in the end, as Nietzsche said, the ones who stare into the abyss and don't look away are the ones who find the power to build.